Hey there, I am Charisma, and welcome back to Traveling with Charisma and Cam, where I teach parents how to travel with their children with or without disabilities. Um, so, this is part of my spiritual series, and today I am going to talk about something that I struggled a lot about, determining whether or not I wanted to share. So, one of my travels took me to Colombia, Medellin, Colombia to be exact. And while I was there, I really had a very hard time there. Um, a lot of times when you leave, people assume that every day is roses and rainbows and everything is wonderful. However, we're still living real life. When we're traveling, when we leave, we are still living everyday life. And while I was there, I needed to figure out what the hell I was doing there. I really had no clue. I knew that I had been led there. I was told this is where I needed to go. I needed to go to Medellin. And y'all, I didn't know why. Um, I spoke with my astrologer that I speak with occasionally, and we did some astrology. With my location because you could do astrology based off of location, astrocartography. So we were going over South America, and she was like, oh well, your Colombia is fine, just it's not the greatest, but make sure you don't go to Medellin. Well, Lord and behold, I was already in Medellin, and the reason she told me not to go to Medellin was because it was another place for me for shadow work. So Panama was shadow work. Costa Rica was shadow work. And not just the countries, y'all. I was actually going to the cities that my line fell in. Atlanta, I could literally walk to the street where I was going to be forced to face my other half and, do a lot of shadow work. And Lord and behold, my ass ended up in Medellin, Colombia, shadow work. Y'all, I didn't like Medellin. I ain't like it at all. I don't ever have to go back there. If y'all doing a girls trip there, count my ass out. It is just not my cup of tea. It's for somebody, but it's not for me. So what the hell was I doing there? Well, I had joined a expat group of women, and on this group, one of the ladies had asked about doing some meditation or some spiritual things. And someone had mentioned ayahuasca ceremony. And my vanilla ass, because I'm vanilla in so many things. Let's be very clear. Yeah, I'm vanilla in so many things. Now I will try some stuff, but when you start, I'm not the person that know what the hell you talking about. So I'm like, oh wait, hold a ceremony. I want to go to a spiritual ceremony. That sounds great. So I go on the website and I, see their, they don't post anything about the spiritual ceremony, but they have a phone number. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go to this ceremony. So I go and I contact the person, and he says to me, what do you know about ayahuasca? Oh, nothing. Like, I just wanted to partake in a spiritual ceremony. Can you tell me more? Well, y'all, I Googled ayahuasca, and there's not a lot of information there. There's not a lot that tells us what is going to happen. And there's definitely not a lot, I don't know if there's anything from people of color, definitely not women of color. So I did my deep dive into ayahuasca. So, according to Wikipedia, it is a psychoactive brew that's found in South America, primarily Colombia and Peru. Um, and it is used as a recreational drug for some people, but traditionally it is used under the guidance of a shaman in a ceremony, such as the one I signed my ass up for, y'all. So, For some, this could be equal to doing shrooms, mushrooms. However, this is not really for recreational use. Ayahuasca goes back about 1,000 years. It's definitely been used in the religion of the Peruvians and the Colombians. It's not something they take very lightly. You have to have a preparation before you do the ceremony. Like I said, it's with a shaman. It is definitely life changing for a lot of people. When you go into these ceremonies, people experience so many different things. And every time they have a ceremony, they can experience something different than the time they did before. So there is no right or wrong to the ceremony. I needed to do some research. Um, Having a background as a medical provider, I've never done anything that's psychoactive, even if it was for religious reasons. So for me, I needed to know more. So in this video, I will take you through what I learned about ayahuasca, my experience at an ayahuasca ceremony, and where I am today, almost a month later. Well, maybe 2 or 3 weeks later. If you're looking to hear about going on a ride or a high or something, this is not the video for you. If you're looking to learn about you using ayahuasca from a spiritual perspective, then that is what I am here for. I am open to answering questions. You can always make an appointment with me. I'll leave my link below. I just want to shed some light because I felt like there was not a lot for me. While you're at it, please make sure you like and subscribe to my channel and make sure you ring the bell so that you receive the notifications when I have new videos. So let me tell you a little bit more about ayahuasca. So ayahuasca comes, apparently, I believe it comes from a tree, and they break it down and they put it in DMT and they put it in MAO. MAO inhibitors. So you may have seen the phrase MAO inhibitors before. MAO inhibitors actually is a medication that we used once upon a time. We don't really use it anymore. And when I say we, I mean from a medical perspective. However, it can be used. It's just not frequently used because MAO inhibitors actually have issues with a lot of different medications. And let me give you a disclaimer, this is not medical advice whatsoever, 100%. This is just me telling you my experience. I am not your practitioner. I am not your doctor. So 100% not medical advice. I'm just telling you what I read up on. So, MAO inhibitors, they interact with a lot of different things. However, they are a great antidepressant. They're great for PTSD. They're great for stress. They're great for anxiety. However, it's a lot of things you can't eat, you can't drink, you can't take medically with MAO inhibitors. So, for that reason, they're not frequently prescribed at all. They're really used for the last resort. So, if you are considering an ayahuasca ceremony, please keep that in mind if you're on any other medications, because I find that that's something that people don't talk about a lot. But for me, that was something that I needed to know because one of my goals was that I use sleep aids. I've been on antidepressants, and that was something that I wanted to stop. Again, not medical advice, not saying you need to stop, not saying that you need to start, but just giving my own spiel on what happened with me. So I looked into that. I actually did stop my antidepressant about a week prior. For me, I knew how to wean myself off. But again, you need to speak with your doctor about that, or your shaman, or whoever you choose to speak with about. Another thing that I found out about ayahuasca is if you have an underlying bipolar or schizophrenia, this can really bring that out. And not just at that time, but it can bring it out in the future as well. So, that's something to be mindful of. You can look at that from a medical perspective. You can look at that from a spiritual perspective, because a lot of people with schizophrenia may see or hear things that other people don't see or hear. So, maybe that what you're seeing or hearing is spiritual. So, that's not a problem for you, but it is something that I feel like needs to be said. So, from my research, I found that a lot of people seek out ayahuasca, not just for the spiritual benefits, but for treatment of depression, anxiety, treatment of PTSD, and some treatment of bipolar. And there have actually been some studies that show that this actually really works. So there is a medical background to this. And when you start to read more information, you will find that there are some doctors that research psychedelics and have definitely found that, there's more to this than we think there is. I, for one, was not a believer up until this point, but I am here now today. All right, so I told you a little bit about the medical portion. Now I want to tell you a little bit about the preparation. I think that for me, I was lucky enough to have a facilitator that definitely educated us. So we went a week prior to, well, almost a week, 5 days prior to the ceremony, and we all met up as a group. And during that time, he let us know what to eat, what not to eat, what we can drink, what medications you needed to avoid. All of those things were very important because, you found some conflicting information. So I can only tell you about my experience, but it was basically that, you didn't want to eat meat. Leading up to the ceremony. If you did, you wanted to make sure it was very clean eating. Because this is an MAO inhibitor, you also have to be careful about things that interact with that. So that was why some of those foods could not be eaten. So make sure if you decide to do a ceremony, you have a person that, takes it very seriously and lets you know which foods you can eat, because you can't eat things like sauerkraut, the kombucha drinks that we drink sometimes. You can't have those. There are different things that you can't eat or drink. So you want to definitely make sure that you have this information. So prior to the ceremony on that Friday, we were told to eat one meal that morning, oatmeal preferably, and then before 2 o'clock, a small vegan meal, but no more to eat that day. Also, if you smoke tobacco, marijuana, drugs, anything of that nature, you were to stop that the week of. And then these things were to continue the following week. So, the day of, we are also told to take a nap, so that we're rested, because this actually starts at nighttime around 9 p.m. I, of course, being me, chose to do my first ceremony when there was a full moon. Gotta love me. Um, and when I took my nap, I remember, for those of you that are familiar with chakras, I remember seeing a lot of yellow. My solar plexus chakra, and I think for me, that was let me know what was up ahead. So, fast forward, we take the ride up to the mountains outside of Medellin, Colombia, where it is actually cold. We get up there and we go into this outside area. I forgot what they called it, but for me, it looked like a really big teepee. Um, and there are people there. There's mats down. This is where we'll lay. And this is our preparation. We are there with the people that we met with earlier that week, as well as some other people, because since this was the last ceremony of the year, there were some other individuals that wanted to experience it. Go around in a circle and we speak about why we're there. some in English, some in Spanish, but our facilitator did translate. And we talk about, what we're there for. I won't speak about anyone else. I would only speak about me. For me, I was there to be shown the light, shown a path, there to receive openness. Um, I didn't have very specific things that wanted. I just knew that I needed clarity in my life for my next steps. Well, I'm a thinker, as you probably know based off of the beginning of this video, and I'm a researcher, and I'm very logical. So we went around, all drank our ayahuasca, and I'm gonna tell y'all we all drank out of the same cup, and the medical in me, y'all, I was like, wait, it's COVID. But I'm like, all right, Charisma, this is spiritual. Like, you can't just be like, it's COVID, so I'm not drinking. So I was like, well, let me watch and make sure I turn the cup where other people aren't drinking from. Sorry, y'all, that was me. So I go up there, I turn my cup, so I'm not drinking from where everyone else is drinking from, and I drink it, and y'all, it tastes like motor oil. Yeah, just in case you're not ready, it tastes like motor oil. Yeah, disgusting. Then they give you a little bit of water to wash down the motor oil, and then you go back and wait. Now you're told to maybe lay down or sit by the fire because there's a fire in the middle. And within 20, 30 minutes, you should feel something. If you don't feel anything in about an hour or so, you're supposed to let them know, or maybe you need a second cup. However, there is no time. There's no time in ayahuasca ceremony. There's no watches. There's no clocks. It's not like we looking up and we like, oh, the hour went by. No. Mm-mm. So I'm sitting here and I'm watching everybody else's experiences. Some are happy, some are laughing, some are sad, some are going through pain, some are going through heartache. And when I tell you all, it took everything in me not to run and help some of um, my fellow spiritual brothers and sisters. Um, I wanted to help them so bad, but the facilitator had already told us everybody is going through their own process, and you have to let them process. So I watched, and I watched, and I watched. Nothing happened to me. I had drank the whole cup, but I was fine. My stomach hurt a little bit, but no nausea, no vomiting. They say you get diarrhea as well. If you didn't know that, be prepared. I did not, luckily, but a lot of people did have that experience because that's one of the side effects. So I decided to go lay down, and when I would close my eyes, I would see geometrical shapes, and I see some algebra, some fractions. Go figure. I hate algebra. But that was it for me. So I let them know I think I needed another cup, and they told me to wait maybe 20, 30 minutes. Because I think by this time, at least an hour, hour and a half had gone by. So I said, okay. So I got tired of laying there. I was just getting like a little worrisome, and I kept going to the bathroom, y'all. I thought that every time I had passed gas, I was like, oh shit, am I gonna have diarrhea? So y'all, I probably went to the bathroom like 12 times and did nothing. All I did was pee. So I come back from one of my many bathroom breaks that consisted of nothing. And I go to the fire. Still nothing is going on. Y'all, really, it's like I could have been drinking some chamomile tea if I didn't know that, I had drank motor oil. So I go back to the fire and I look around and it's another person in there kind of, I go like, And they go, and I go, you know, we don't know. Both of us are in the same boat. And then we just smile at each other. So that person then asks for another cup, and then he points to me that I need another cup. They tell us to wait 10 more minutes, and then finally we go to get another cup. And then I drink, but I don't think I drank as much at this point. I go back and I lay down because they said the last thing you want to do is for this to really hit you and you're sitting up. I open my eyes at some point and I see men without a shirt. I'm like, what the hell is going on around here? But at this point, y'all, I'm a little off. I'm not myself. I just wasn't in my right mind, I would say. And so I'm like, maybe you dreaming. Just go back to sleep. Then someone comes by and basically wakes me up. I'm not all the way asleep, but they do tell me to come to the front because now we're about to do the energy clearance ceremony. Well, in charisma fashion, that's when the shit hits me. Not when I'm sitting by the fire, not when everybody else is going through it, not when I'm laying my ass down, but when I'm sitting on the stool, like they said not to do, in the middle, y'all, of the ceremony. Now I need to purge. Purge. What is purge? Throw up, y'all. So I had already purged before I got up there. I don't know how long ago. But now in front of everybody, because I have a whole audience, and I do remember them saying we were doing the ceremony around 2 or 4. So everybody else is good, y'all, because this is got in their system, out their system. They chilling. Not my ass. So I'm up here and I'm like, what the hell? Like I'm kind of woozy, kind of swinging back and forth. The Charmin comes around. My eyes are closed. Can't keep my eyes open. And y'all, I think this man spits on us. So I'm woozy, can't think straight. But I'm like, I know this man didn't just spit on me. And not only spit on me, he spit on me in the middle of COVID. This can't be true. This man, I was raised Catholic, y'all. This man must have that thing that they throw with holy water because there's no way in hell, like y'all, that this man just spit on me in the middle of COVID. Like that shit didn't happen, right? Like, no, that can't be happening. Yeah. Then he goes through the ceremony, the dances, the rituals, the singing, and my eyes were closed because at this time I'm still woozy. I'm at the point I can barely hold my head up. It feels like my head is a pound of bricks and I can't hold it up. And I promise you all, every time I heard him sing, every time I heard him chant, shit got real. When I tell you the spiritual forces, they came at me and they came hard. You know, I know some people say that they see relatives that's passed before, they see animals, they may see aliens. I ain't see any of that. But everybody's experience is different. For me, have you ever seen the movie Get Out? And you know when his head is down and pops up and his eyes just open up? Yeah, that was me. I was told words, clarity. I was told to release control. I was very heavy. I could not release control. You know, I had this, you know, I'm telling them, bucket, bucket, I need a bucket. I'm like, what the fuck? Is nobody hearing me? I need a bucket, bucket, bucket. I go like, I make the round, like bucket, bucket. And eventually I think it actually comes out my mouth, bucket. And then they bring me a bucket and I go, blah. I'm purging, but there's nothing coming out. Like it's just dry heaves. And for anybody, if y'all ever been pregnant, if y'all have ever thrown up, you already know the worst damn thing is not throwing up. It's dry heaves. Nobody wants to fucking have dry heaves. Dry heaves are the worst thing ever. So here I am, dry heaves. And, it just keeps happening and keeps happening. And this is when I feel like the spit coming at me or the holy water. Y'all, I don't know what the hell it was. I just felt it coming out of me. And dry heaves. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what is going on? What do you want from me? Do you want my soul? I have nothing else to give you. Like, do you want my soul? What is it that you're trying to take from me? Am I, like, because at this time, all this shit is going on, but I'm still very much here. I'm still very logical. I'm still thinking through this. Like, y'all, this did not take me to any, like, foreign universe. I am still here. I am still thinking, what about COVID? I have released no control. Like, I'm controlling all this shit. And yeah, it is controlling me because it said, look here, I'm going to excuse my French. Look here, bitch. What you not going to do is be in control of the whole ayahuasca ceremony. That's what you not going to do. That is not what you came here for. So what you going to do is go ahead and relinquish this control because that is what you came here for. Right. So for all of y'all, especially my females, my black females, that we can't relinquish control. You want to relinquish some damn control? Take your ass to Colombia and do an ayahuasca ceremony. I promise you. Oh, that control, they'll grab it right up out of you. And eventually, I say I give up control. I am not in control. I am not in control. And it began to slow down. And I felt woozy. And I couldn't hold my head up. And I just was like, is this the end? I can't die here. This can't be the end. This can't be my death. Is this shit my death? Am I dying? Like, because I don't have anything else left. And my head is down. And my body is weak. And I just feel like all I want to do is lay on the floor. But don't forget, I'm in the middle of the ceremony. There's like 5 to 6 other women lined up next to me. Everybody in the group is in the circle and they're watching me. Y'all, I ain't even give a damn. Y'all could have just made me the lady outside naked, streaking, going up and down the damn street. I didn't give a damn who was watching me at that moment. And then the shaman came to me because it was my turn for the healing and for the energy clearing. And at that moment, y'all, that's when the ayahuasca really hit me. And I began to see that get out moment that told me that this is about clarity. This is about giving up control. This is about realizing your spiritual gifts and utilizing them in the way that you were meant to utilize them. This is no longer about everyone else. This is about you. And in big, bold letters, I saw me. Never before in my life has it been about me. Even as a child, it was not about me. And you're telling me at 37, me? Me. And then I see a stone, a crystal. A crystal. I did not have this crystal before. But I see this because this is meant for me. And all of this is going on while he is doing the energy clearing. Because see, we're on different planes for spirituality. And what I was not aware of was that I was on a much higher plane than I had any idea. Had no idea the plane that I was on and the gifts that I was to use and how I was to use them. I had no idea that I already possessed that of a shaman. that I have been doing this work as long as, I don't know, because I had no idea. So I don't know how long that moment lasts with the shaman. I just know that when it was that at one point he wanted me to hold my head up, and it took every fiber of being in me to lift my head up, and it dropped back down. And he went like that, and I lifted it back up, and I continued to see me. I continued to see that crystal. I continued to see the clarity. There was a moment where I saw my daughter. There was a moment where I saw my son. That was it. The rest of that time was me. I wasn't brought in that ceremony to see people from before, because I already experienced my ancestors and my guiding angels. I wasn't brought there to see extraterrestrial beings. That's why I was to be open. That's why I saw the yellow. And after that, and it was my turn to get up, I couldn't move. He said, "Get up." No, I couldn't. Lifting my head was a chore, and you wanted me to lift my body? I believe there were three people, two or three people, that helped me get back to my area where I slept. The woman, she covered me with the blanket, and I went to sleep. I don't think my experience lasted a long time. There was no crying and laughing and tears of joy and freaking out, and I didn't experience that. I experienced an enlightening. This is why I was brought to Medellin, Colombia. It wasn't glitz and glamour for me. It was a spiritual enlightening. I noticed the next morning that I felt people so much more than I had before. I've always felt people, but not to this extent. The question about doing a ceremony such as this is, what do you do with it next? For some people, they do it again and again and again. And that's a personal preference. Some people may only do it once or twice. Some people had delayed responses. Instead of having a response, like I had to have 2 cups. Um, some people may not even have a response that day. It may be a day or two later before they experience a response. They may think nothing happened. When I left, I couldn't. It's about 2 weeks before I could actually eat more than just vegetables. Um, I couldn't eat meat, couldn't eat processed foods, chips, things of that nature. Um, three weeks or so later, I still can't eat a whole lot of meat. I can eat some processed foods, but not above and beyond. Um, I never started back on the sleeping pills. I sleep fine now. I don't feel like I experienced depression the way that I did prior to. I think it was part of my spiritual awakening. We had another meeting and we went over everything, and things that happened and how we felt about everything, and everybody shared, and we all had very different experiences. Uh, this was just mine. This is my account. This is what I can share with you, my one time. doing ayahuasca. Hopefully, it's helpful for you. It helps you to make a decision from a holistic point of view. I can't tell you to do it. I can't tell you not to do it. I can't tell you what you'll experience, what you won't experience, how you'll feel, what will happen, how you'll feel leading up to it. Because, y'all, I was about to give up leading up to it. I'm just going to be very honest. Like, I called that man. I was like, I don't know. I hadn't been on my medicine. I hadn't been off this medicine that long. I'm concerned about side effects, And he had to tell me, Charisma, your life is worth more than $100 we're charging you. And I was like, yeah, he has a point there. It was like, we would not put your life in jeopardy over $100. There were some people that he said stopped their antidepressant the day before. Um, Everybody has a different experience. What I can tell you is that I know that if you're watching this video, you're considering it. I know if you're watching this video, you're on a spiritual journey as well. Take some time with yourself, meditate on it. Speak to whomever you need to speak to, whether that's here or from a spiritual perspective. Um, for me, I found out about it and did it a week later. I am not the norm. Most people had thought about it for a year or two. I find for me, I'm a now or never type of person. Once I find out about something, it's now or never. Like, I can't really dwell on things for a long time. I'm going to make a decision. I'm going to stick with that decision. Leading up to it, I only talked to people, friends and family that were supportive of my decision. I did speak with someone, and they felt that they were being supportive, but it was very negative for me about my decision. But it was something that I needed to hear so I could do more research on it and be more comfortable going into the process. I'm a very firm believer that things happen as they're supposed to happen when they're supposed to happen. If this is supposed to happen for you, it will happen. Whether it will happen right now or not is the question. I advise you to make sure that the person that's your facilitator and your shaman, you make sure that you speak with them and that they have things laid out because when I spoke with a friend of mine that had already done so much research on this, I was informed that this was not the norm, that people do this much for you to prepare you and the aftermath. So I really am appreciative that I was led to my facilitator and that he was there to speak with me a couple of times before um, and therefore the after. Some people do these ceremonies over a couple of days instead of overnight, over just one night. So they may do multiple nights. I don't know what my experience would have been a second night. However, I feel like I got what I needed. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. If you want to make an appointment to talk more, I'll leave my link for appointments. And like I said, like and subscribe. Click the bell for the next video. And we will go from there. Happy drinking, y'all. I'll talk to y'all later. Thanks for watching. It's Charisma with Traveling with Charisma Cam of Charisma Cares.